Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to TTTV. This is TTL F1, season number 13, round number 11, which takes us to the German Grand Prix. My name is Kieran McGinley, and sadly, it's not the homecoming for Andy that I would love it to be. It's just me on my own here tonight. But if you missed the Austrian Grand Prix last time out, please go back, have a check on that one, because it was quite an interesting race, that's for sure. And that's enough time for you to have a look at it. Yes, Squeezy did retire from the British Grand Prix, his home Grand Prix, I believe. Him and Zenki came together at the final corner. No investigation was put in place. It was deemed a racing incident by both drivers. They didn't take it any further than that. What that meant, though, was that Ollie took his first race win of the season and became only the fourth different person in the season to win a race. First race win of the season, and it put him second place in the championship. He'll be looking to build on his momentum as he heads towards the German Grand Prix. And we had a little bit of a discussion about how the British Grand Prix wasn't his home track last time out. He doesn't consider any track on the calendar to be his home Grand Prix. And, well, German Grand Prix then. A fantastic circuit, as long as you're not Sebastian Vettel of 2018. And, well, here's the thing about Germany. Obviously, it was shortened down from the massive Hockenheim ring of the early 90s. A massive behemoth, almost 7-kilometre track that went through the forests, trees either side, massive amounts as they surrounded the cars then. And ever since then, ever since 2002, I believe, Hermann Tilke redesigned the circuit to only use the infield, redesigned it so that the track wasn't, or it slowed it down, put it away from the trees and the forest to make it a little bit safer. And here is what the track we have today is. And unfortunately, the old track has gone into disrepair. It's overgrown. There's roots and trees and whatnot coming through the tarmac. So it is pretty much unusable, and remains a relic of races past. A fantastic circuit, and one of my favourites when it came to vintage Formula 1 games. But don't tell 8-year-old me it was because half the track was straight. Don't tell him that. Not worth it. But here we are then at the redesigned circuit, and it's been a staple on the calendar. Obviously, every other year as it stands up to 2018, but 2019, obviously, Hockenheim Ring has a permanent home on the calendar. It did switch between the Nürburgring, but obviously when the Nürburgring went into administration, it had to pull out from Formula 1, and so left that gap in the calendar so that the German Grand Prix would only be every other year. And gone are the days when you know, you had the likes of the European Grand Prix at the Nürburgring. Gone are those days. Now we have, of course, no European Grand Prix anymore. I don't know how we got into the European Grand Prix from Hockenheim, but never mind. I mean, it's amazing, isn't it? I can do so much with so little. But anyway, as we draw ever closer then to the start of this race, and obviously I did miss out on the mini league that took place last night. I did miss out on it. It was a huge shame. I did want to be a part of it. However, wasn't meant to be, I'm afraid. Would have loved to have done it, but other things came up and I wasn't able to make it. But as we head towards the German Grand Prix now, head towards the short qualifying, we're about to find out how the track conditions are going to be, what the track's going to be like. Is it going to be dry? Is it going to be wet? Lots of people over the past couple of races want the rain. They seem to be trying to predict it every single race, and every single time they've been wrong. But we'll have to wait and see how everything develops. We've got almost a full lobby, which is fantastic, and we also have Marquez's back, also known as Odems. You can pretty much interchange between the two of those. Little Piece also back for Thursday as well, and we've also got, I believe, we've got Lambo here tonight as well. So obviously the Ferraris here, I think, are back. I think they're both back actually. for this one. We'll have to wait and see when we get into the lobby. I didn't quite see every single name in that list, but yep, Poe is here tonight. We've also got Sean, who's back in the car tonight, George Roberts as well. Lots of people making their return to the German Grand Prix. I guess there's something about the German Grand Prix then that drives people here, that attracts people to this fantastic location. And my microphone's being a bit, or not my microphone, my headset's being a little bit odd there. But all the sound went into one ear. It was really strange. Anyway, enough about that. I've done it again. I think this headset's on the way out. Either that or... Wait a minute. Wait a second. No? Maybe it's because the crowd's over to the left. That's what it'll be. That's what it'll be. Anyway, enough about that. Enough about me rattling on about nothing. We've got cars firing up in the pit lane, in the garages. We're almost ready to go then. As we can see the Mercedes there of Poe, also the Ferrari of Poe, the Mercedes of Squeezy, and then the Mercedes of Spike, all taken to the track at pretty much the same time. So Squeezy then will not be the first out onto the track. It's a Ferrari that went out, and it will be Poe who's first out onto the circuit. Let's see if we can ride on board with him as we exit the pit lane here then. And obviously it's a track here that does promote overtaking. There's 3 DRS zones, one down the main straight, one on this straight here down towards the hairpin, and then you've got that straight in between turns 1 and 2. And as Ollie was saying last week in Commentator's Corner, turn 1 is going to be the turning point in this race to avoid the pun if possible. He was saying that, you know, you can gain probably around about half a second if you time it right, but if you get it wrong, you invalidate your lap time, or even worse, you lose half a second per lap. So it's really important to get that turn 1 right. You get that turn 1 right, it can dictate how well the rest of your lap goes. As you can see, the Mercedes there running wide, and I believe that is Squeezy. It is indeed, as we ride on board with the Mercedes then as we make our way around into the stadium section. And I want to see this part of the track is part of the old Hockenheim ring as we now head our way around turn 16 and then towards turn 17. We ride on board with Championship leader Squeezy as he makes his way towards the start finish line and on towards turn 1 now. Here it's crucial, using that curve on the left hand side, chucking the car in here onto the second DRS zone now as we make our way towards turn 2, braking just at the 100-metre board and turning the car in. Obviously the exit here is crucial because through turn 3 you're trying to be full throttle. Using that curve on the right hand side then, again into the DRS zone as we now make our way through this long turn 5. Some call it the parabolica as we now head down towards turn 6. Heavy braking zone, good overtaking opportunities as you see the cars there. I believe that's Sean running extremely wide then to avoid anything here as we now head towards turn 7 now. Full throttle through here, not once going off the throttle. Not even thinking about it, heading our way now down towards turn 8. An interesting and dramatic part of the track here through turn 8. As now head through 9, 10 and 11, running slightly wide is Squeezy on 11. Hopefully he completes the lap as we now dart through turn 12. You can see they're chucking the car in and it sticks like glue to the road as we head now through the stadium section in towards turn 13. Through the quick left right of 14 and 15. Full throttle through here instantly into the braking zone of turn 16, and now using that curve on the left hand side, turning our way through turn 17, patient on the throttle as you make your way towards the start finish line. That's a lap of the Hockenheim ring, and Squeezy there sets an invalid 112.2 as that is Poe then a 110.6 from the Ferrari driver. Obviously here at the track we've got ultra softs, super softs. No, we haven't. Ultra softs, softs and mediums. Those are the tyres we have today. So we skip out the super softs today, which encourages drivers to try the soft tyres and see how they go. But we've got Zenki out in second place right now. Of course, he hasn't set a lap time yet, so that will change as George Roberts there, 115.6. Obviously, McLaren putting their faith in George Roberts at the moment. And he sets a 115.6 there. They're really encouraged by his signs here. He's come back here and looking to just finish some races. And now they'll be sort of pushing him to try and push for more points. Graham's out of the session then. So Graham in the Sauber out of qualifying somewhere out on track. Sector 1 it looked like. Ollie then sets a 115.4. And I don't think he'll be very impressed with himself for that one. I'll have to wait and see how he does then, as he now makes his way through turn 3 and turn 4 now. And this is the man in second place right about now, the man from Jersey. He makes his way now through that parabolic down towards turn 6. And it should be an interesting one for Ollie. Can he keep on with that momentum and try and put some pressure on Squeezy? Obviously he knows that he can do it. He knows he has the pace, and he was sort of saying last time around that maybe he wasn't quite expecting it, but it was a 1-2 for Red Bull, and they got an amazing amount of points, 25 to be exact, as he now makes his way now down towards turn 12. Warming up those tyres then as we head now in towards turn 13. And through 14 and 15 there. That quick left-right. Almost a non-existent corner now. But as Ollie now makes his way around the final corner and towards the start-finish line, does he improve in his time? He does, but only by 0.004 of a second. And, well, it didn't make a difference anyway because it's still invalid there. Squeezy on his way into the pits then, 111.5. Spike there, 111.8 with Light T, 112.7. Sean on mediums, 113.5. Alan K on softs, 114.4. Ollie obviously setting up 115.4. George Roberts, 115.4. White coming into the pit lane, 115.7. Back in the Williams now, hoping to get a good result. Zenki hasn't set a lap time on those ultra soft tyres. So that's going to be an interesting one for McLaren. What will they do? Mays has not come out onto the circuit. Neither is Lambo. Crazy then, as a reserve driver, in the Sauber this time around as he makes his way around the final corner and towards the start-finish line. Sauber get the chance now to have the two-time champ on their ranks as he runs wide. Oh, losing that car! Just about keeping it under control then. Yeah, the back end did not agree with that car through turn 1 there. And that looked like it was game over, but Crazy held it well there. Little piece then in the Toro Rosso, making his way now down towards the hairpin. And already he's scored some points. I believe it was last week. He wasn't here on Tuesday, but last week, when on his return, I believe it was, he did score some points for Toro Rosso. So they'll be mightily pleased with his performance. Obviously returning to TTL F1 after a time away. And I've been impressed with his pace so far and his battling skills as well. Obviously, he did race for Haas for a while. I believe that was back in season, correct me if I'm wrong, season 10 or season 11 for the Haas team. And of course, those were the days when the drivers went up to the teams and say, I want to drive for you. Now, it's a little bit of a different story. The teams now approach the drivers. As now Little Piece heads towards the line. And he sets a 113.2, and that puts him into 7th place. Just behind Plaster, who set a 113.2 as well. 0.04 of a second quicker at the moment is Plaster. And he puts himself just behind Alan K then. Let's have a look. Mays is out on track then as he heads now down towards turn 13. Sporting that black and yellow helmet just to match the Renault there. Quite a nice design, I think. As we now head in towards the final 2 corners now. As Mays goes onto the Ultrasofts and starts a flying lap. Lambo looking to do the same, looking to create a little bit of a gap here. And both Ferraris missing from Tuesday's race. They'll be looking to just get straight back on it here tonight. Marquez now darting his way through turn 12. Already a race winner in this season. Last Thursday, in fact, he won the race. So I'll be hoping to build on that momentum. Obviously, Williams here know that Marquez can only really perform in half the races this season. They know that. They still went with him, and he's got him those 25 points there. Poe then has set his best lap time on a set of ultra soft tyres, but this time he wants to go back out on a set of soft tyres. And from what I'm hearing in the chat anyway, is that the race is going to be damp to dry. So whether that's damp enough to run the inters or damp enough to run the softs, or the slicks I should say, who knows? We're just going to have to find out as Poe then darts out of the way of his teammate. We've got Mays now through that left-right chicane now in towards 16 and then through turn 17. And Mays then coming around the final corner. What can he do then as he makes his way towards the line? It's a 112.1, puts him into 4th place. How about Lambo then as he makes his way towards the line? And what's it going to be? It's a 110.6, but it was an invalid one. That lap would have been enough to put him into 2nd place, but an invalid lap there, and it will not count. Zenki here, 30 points to his name this season, I believe. Actually, that's harsh. He had more than that, didn't he? Because he finished last time out in 4th place, so I believe he has 42. at this moment in time. And it's been a season where Zenki's shown that he has pace. But for some reason, it's not quite clicked for him just yet. We'll be hoping to just build on some momentum and finish in a good podium position today. Maybe even challenge for the race win. As Squeezy then 110.3 in front of the Mercedes home crowd. Puts himself 3/10 up on Poe. And there is Spike then, as we see that helicopter camera just capturing the end of Spike going through turn 8 then. We head back to the ground now. As Spike now darts through turn 12 here. So much grip through turn 12. Amazing. As turn 13 it cambers inward towards the curve, so you can actually take more speed there than you think. And now Spike making his way around the final corner now and towards the start finish line. What will it be for the Mercedes driver? What can he do? It's a 1:10.5. Mercedes 1-2 provisionally. And that is something that Toto Wolff would be very, very glad to see. Lighty at his home race, he'll be wanting to put on a show for the home crowd today. He makes his way now down towards turn 8. Currently 5th place, 111.4 in the Force India. And the prospect of racing at your home Grand Prix is always going to be an interesting one. And now he makes his way down towards turn 13. I wonder if this is a flying lap from Lighty. It looks like it. He's definitely going for it. Now makes his way around the final 2 corners, riding on board now with the Force India driver as he makes his way towards the start-finish line now. And what's the lap time going to be? It's a 1:11.4. So he does improve, but just under 0.02 of a second he improves by. Little piece here, looking to go for that long stint, and Zenki has retired from the session somewhere in sector 3. Meanwhile, Marquez is here. Has got a lap to set here. He's gone onto a set of ultra soft tyres, and some of these guys who are on the ultra soft tyres are probably thinking that it might rain. We've got yellow flags there. That's just Ollie getting out of the way of Marquez's there as we head now down towards turn 13. Interesting one about Marquez's, he names himself after a regen football player he found in Football Manager some years ago. That's why he's called Marquez's. Fantastic name to have as he makes his way now towards the line. What's it going to be? It's a 1:10.6, but an invalid 1:10.6. So Marquez is then still P17. He knows more will be asked for him as he now heads down towards turn 2 here. He's got to keep it under control. He's got another chance here, but has he got another set of ultra soft tyres in which to do it? Blaster out on track then. He makes his way towards the line. What can he do? It's a 1:13.0. And he stays in P... Oh, no, goes up to P13. My apologies. So 1:13.0. That is just under 3/10 ahead of the 2-time champ of Crazy Legs, who is currently out there. And, of course, Crazy Legs is one of the people of history as Mays retires from the session. Somewhere in sectors 1 and 2, that looks like it's going to be the pit lane. Actually, yep, it looks like the pit lane he's retired in. So Sean here, meanwhile, 6th place in the Haas. Wasn't here for Tuesday's race. And he's come back now to just sort of carry on with that momentum. He makes his way now down towards turn 6. As it stands then with 4.5 minutes to go, it is Squeezy on pole position as White there puts himself up to 5th place in the Williams then. And that'll be asking something for Marquez's for sure. His teammate goes 5th place. And White here looking to just build on his runs recently. Wasn't here on Tuesday, mind. But on last Thursday he was part of a high-scoring Williams team. Just want to keep his head down. Keep building on that momentum. George Roberts, meanwhile, now on a flying lap for his ultra soft run. With just under 4 minutes to go then. As I say, Squeezy provisioning on pole position. Ollie in 2nd, splitting those 2 Mercedes right now. Spike is in 3rd with Poe in 4th. White in 5th with Lighty 6th. Sean in 7th. Alan in 8th with Mays retired. No, let me get that right. Mays has retired in 8th with Alan in 9th. There we go. Little piece rounds out the top 10 right now with Plaster in 11th. Crazy Legs in 12th. George Roberts 13th. Zenki and Graham have retired from this session. We are still awaiting lap times from Lambo, Marquez's and Pursuit, who I believe anyway has a qualifying ban from last time out. In fact, that is true. Pursuit does have that qualifying ban. He is not allowed to leave the garage during this qualifying session. Not for an insta-lappery, not for anything. He's not allowed to leave the pit lane. Oh, that's George Roberts into the gravel there. Maybe pushing a little bit too hard through turn 12 there. He now makes his way through that fast left-right. And now down towards the final 2 corners. And he comes into the pit lane then, so obviously not happy with that as he finds himself into the gravel in the entry there. And Lambo making a new circuit through turn 6 there, as he now makes his way towards turn 7. As, yep, completely new circuit, and that's going to cost him. And he's spun out completely. He's out. Lambo trying to make a new circuit, getting back to the pit lane as quickly as possible. And he's paid the ultimate price. Lambo's out of qualifying. 15th place at least he will start. That's if Marquez doesn't set another lap time. Lighty then making his way around the final 2 corners to start a flying lap then. German in front of his home crowd. Just over 2 minutes to go. He might go for 2 runs here. He might have the fuel for it. We don't know, but he will have the ERS for it for sure. As he now makes his way towards turn 2, 3 and 4. You can see that German livery on his lid there. Fantastic looking livery, that one. Just running slightly wide on the exit of turn 4 there, and he backs out of it. Does he? Couldn't tell there yet. Well, he hasn't got his DRS open, so he's backed out of this one. Probably looking to just get some more heat into the tyres now. He'll have another chance at going for it. Sean, meanwhile, on a flying lap. In fact, not on a flying lap, building up for his flying lap. And he makes his way through the final corner now and goes to start a new flying lap in the Haas, then making his way now towards turn 1. Struggling up quite a lot of speed through turn 1 there. Alan Kay on an out lap as he makes his way now down towards the hairpin of turn 6. Spike out there on an out lap. Meanwhile, Squeezy, the lead Mercedes car, making his way around the final corner and towards the start-finish line then. Squeezy will be hoping to grab pole position. Can the man from Jersey do anything about that? Ollie making his way now down towards turn 13. Can he show everyone today what he's made of? Can he show everyone today that last time wasn't a fluke? He's got the pace, that's for sure. He's building gaps to the cars behind. He's got a point to prove here today. Lighty then making his way through down towards turn 6 now. Of course, he invalidated his first lap. There is Sean, who looks like he's still on a flying lap then. Through 14 and 15, Marquez retires from the second session. He'll have to start from P17 then, as Sean makes his way around the final corner then. And towards the start-finish line, what can Sean do? It's 6th place, 111.3 right about now. And he's still got time for another run, which I don't think he's going to take. Lighty out on circuit. Where are Spike and Squeezy? Squeezy's making his way towards the left-right. Down towards turn 16 and then through turn 17. Ollie's retired from the session then. So that just leaves Squeezy then. Squeezy's... Oh, he's lost it across the line. He's not going to set a faster lap time. And Spike's collected by his teammate then. Mercedes both out across the line. Well, luckily for them, your cars get instantly repaired. Spike did take the checkered flag. But didn't improve his lap time then. Here comes White around the final corner. Something on the cards for the Williams then as he makes his way towards the line. Can he get further up the field? He does go faster, but it is not enough. In fact, the lap time was invalidated as Alan Kay is the last person out there to set a lap time as he now makes his way around the final corner. Can Alan Kay get himself into that top 10? As we have a look, yes, it's 8th place. 8th place then for Alan Kay. But it is Squeezy on pole position for the German Grand Prix. Well then, let's have a look at the qualifying results. And Spike saying that would have been pole position. Well, well, well. How much will that impact the race then? But as it stands in, Squeezy is on pole position for the German Grand Prix. Ollie is in second, splitting the two Mercedes with Spike there in third. Then it's Poe in 4th place, White in 5th, Sean in 6th, Lighty in front of his home fans. He starts in 7th place. Alan Kay up to 8th place with Maze in 9th, and Crazy Legs rounds out the top 10. Then it's Little Piece in 11th, Plaster in 12th, George Roberts there in 13th place, not setting a lap on those ultra soft tyres. We didn't get a lap time from Zenki. Lambo crashed out. Not sure what happened to Graham there. Marquez looks like he gave up, and Pursuit had that qualifying ban, so he starts from the back of the grid. Well, what a prospect we have for you tonight. Squeezy and Ollie, first and second in the championship, first and second on the grid, looking to make a good battle of this one. And there you can see it is raining, and from the looks of it in the Mercedes garage, looks like intermediate starts here. So from the forecast, it looks like it's going to be damp to dry. So this rain looks like it's going to clear up towards the latter parts of the race, and we should have ourselves a little bit of a lap on our hands. Looking forward to this one. Let me know in the chat, who do you think is going to win this German Grand Prix? Will Squeezy manage to make it an 8th win of the season, or can Marquez come from the back of the field to come up to P17? Maybe Lambo, dark horse, crashed out in qualifying by trying to cut the track. And in all seriousness, no, we do have something we will do for the formation lap. Unfortunately, you may have heard of Onyx. Unfortunately lost his father last night, 7:41 p.m, and watched all of his league races alongside him. Horrible to lose a family member so close to you. So in honour of him and his father, this formation lap will be in silence. That formation lap in silence there, in tribute to Onyx there, who lost his father, passed away last night. That formation lap in tribute to him then. All the best, Ollie, from everybody at TTTV. Stay strong. For the German Grand Prix now, we are almost ready to go for round number 11 as the lights start to count up. It's 5 red lights. Round 11 is underway, and you've got to keep that wheel spin under control. What are the starts like? Looks like it's a fantastic start from Squeezy then, as we head now down towards turn 1. But have a look behind them as well, because it looks like it's going to try and be 4 wide going through turn 1. Everybody, though, is able to get through. And look at this, 3 wide here behind Maze. It's Little Piece, Alan Kay and Zenki as we head towards turn 3 there. Little Piece looks like he turned it a little bit too early then. And it looks like Zenki trying to keep it all under control then. Little Piece dropping down the order then. Alan Kay trying to now go round the outside. It's all a battle over the last point position right about now. Little Piece heads the charge then. There's 3 cars behind him as we now head down towards the hairpin of turn 6 there. Watch out for Alan Kay then, as that looks like Marquez is trying to go up the inside, and a little bit of contact there. It's all a bit sketchy as we head through now. Marquez finds a way through, so does Lambo. Little Piece now down to 12th place right about now as we now head down towards turn 7 here. Squeezy still leads, Ollie in second. Meanwhile, Poe is up to 3rd place. Lambo here looks for a way up the inside of Marquez's. Nothing doing though, and as you can see here, it's a little bit of a hectic start in these intermediate conditions. Poe then up to 3rd place, by the way. Spike down to 4th, so Spike then not getting the greatest start in the world. He drops a position. as we now head with Marquezes then, that is, up ahead, looking for a way past Mays here, right on his tail. Meanwhile, Zenki is right on the tail of Lighty as we now head through that fast left-right. It's a little bit slower now in these intermediate conditions. 34 laps around here as Zenki almost losing the back end there, having to keep that under control as we now head towards the start-finish line to complete the very first lap. It's flown by that first lap. As we now head towards turn 1, we've got an incident in sector 3. Is that George Roberts? And it is George Roberts, who looks like he's lost it around the penultimate corner. So the McLaren there, losing the back end, that looked like. Meanwhile, behind them, there's a battle between Zenki and Lighty. Then Lighty trying to get the inside line. Zenki round the outside. In fact, it looked like he was on the grass for a little bit there, but I don't think that was the case. As we now head through that parabolica now down towards turn 6, you can see Lighty there just having that more straight line speeds. That looks like S. Graham in trouble as well. That's Lambo who's trying to go up the inside. Zenki behind them as well, trying to go up the inside. Nothing doing there then, as you're now in the spray here. Lambo trying to find his way through, as that is a Williams on his right hand side there. That's Marquezes, and Lambo losing the back end through turn 7 there. Not ideal at all there, but Lambo is able to hold off against Marquezes right about now. Meanwhile, White here is trying to put some pressure on Poe. Poe's lost now that position to Spike. Spike is now back up to 3rd place in this race. As you can see, White piling on the pressure on that Ferrari in front of him. Zenki still trying to put the pressure on the Force India behind him. Little piece right behind Mays with Pursuit, who has come up from 18th place. And that looks like Poe in trouble. And it is! Poe is off at the final corner, or just before, as we see cars into the pits then. And what is Poe up to here? Is he waiting for a charge? No, he's left the session. Poe out of the session then. So we've got 3 cars into the pits, as that looks interestingly side by side there. Lighty in for a wing change then. I'm guessing White's in for the same. Yes, he is. How about, well, Poe is still out there as a ghost car. Sean in for a wing change as well. So lots of debris then, as it becomes the world's most expensive rubbish tip track right now. As they say, it's around about £20,000 per front wing you have to change. So a little bit expensive in that pit lane right about now. It looks like it's around £60,000 to £70,000 down the drain, as Pursuit here puts the pressure on. He's now up to 8th place. Remember, he started from the back of the grid. He had that qualifying ban. So it's a good drive from Pursuit at the moment. He's now putting the pressure on Mays. Now, there was an incident between these two in qualifying last week. Pursuit said, I know I'm going to get penalised. I just know it. I deserve it. But Pursuit now piling on the pressure on Mays ahead of him. Is that George Roberts in trouble? And he just runs slightly wide there. Now trying to find a way back onto the track. Obviously going onto the grass. Doesn't give him the greatest amount of grip there. And Lighty finds his way through. Is that Alan Kay? It is. And now he's lost his front wing. Well, big chunks of it anyway. As he now rejoins in turn 8 there. Not quite sure what happened there. So Alan Kay now will have to limp his way back towards the pit lane. Lots of front wings being changed at the moment. Lap number 4, and we haven't really got a chance to go through the order properly. It is Squeezy who leads. 3.6 separates himself and Ollie right now. Spike is in 3rd with Zenki in 4th. Lambo there is in 5th with Marquezes in 6th. Mays in 7th with Pursuit in 8th. And Little Piece in 9th. Plaster rounds out the top 10. Crazy Legs is into the pits. He's in 11th. Quickly overtaken by Sean, Alighty. And that is Poe is a ghost car, so he is currently not in this session. That is White behind George Roberts there. So Crazy now drops down to 16th, as that's White there trying to fight with George Roberts on the exit of turn 1. As he now make our way down towards turn 2. He has the inside line now and takes it away from George Roberts. I don't think Roberts there was going to put up too much of a battle there. But White then finds himself now up to 13th place. Always frustrating when you lose that bit of front wing early on and you have to stop and come in, change that front wing, and it's almost race ruin. But obviously we've seen cars off before. We've seen cars retire in qualifying by losing the car completely. Not over yet, not by a long shot. And we're only on lap number 4. Plenty of time to go. 31 laps to be exact. Battle here for 7th place between Mays and Pursuit is going on right now. Meanwhile, we've got a battle for just outside the points, 11th place. And Lighty there, losing that back end. The German hopefuls will have been so gutted to see him come into the pits so early on, but they'll keep the faith in him. Pursuit said he wants to contribute more to the Force India team scoring. He knows he's been a bit off the pace recently. He's been full of praise for Lighty recently over the amount of pace he's shown. And Lighty in front of his home crowd will simply just do his best to try and get back now. Meanwhile, that battle between Maze and Pursuit rages on now as we head now through turn 4. Nexus has to run onto the curb there. Maze wasn't going to give him the greatest amount of room, but Nexus here has a good run as we head through the Parabolica of turn 5. Now coming down towards turn 6, it's been fair fighting. As we head now into that heavy breaker zone, in towards the hairpin. Pursuit has the inside line. Maze will try a little bit of a cutback here, but Maze just can't quite get the traction down. And Pursuit then in the Force India up to 7th place right now. Considering he started from 18th place, that's not a bad start at all from the Force India driver. Maze still putting that pressure on though as we head through turns 10 and 11. You can see riding on board with Maze then. How tricky these conditions are. Of course, watch that rain. The best place to spot it is on the halo. As you can see, it drips down on the bodywork of the car. And as the car speeds along, you can see those drips of water there. Really go with the airflow. So keep an eye on that then as Pursuit coming in towards turn 16 now. Maybe running slightly too deep, but actually it looked like a good corner in the end. And he'll come across the line then. 7th place for him so far. Meanwhile, up ahead of them, 2nd place is hotly contested for. Ollie is ahead of Spike right now. We've got yellow flags in Sector 2, which have been cleared now. So someone obviously having a little bit of a moment then, somewhere in Sector 2. Spike here looks to pile on the pressure for that Red Bull ahead of him. As we now head through turn 7 and coming down towards turn 8 now. Spike here looking to just keep putting that pressure on. That's all he can do right now. Heading now towards turn 12. Obviously a lot slower than it was in qualifying turn 12 right now. Funnily enough, but as we head now through turn 13, Spike right on the tail of Ollie then. Zenki in 4th. Meanwhile, Poe's Ghost Car is overtaken by Crazy. So Crazy now up to 15th place. Trying out the wheel for the first time. Now, as you can see, just on that camera angle there, the rain's clearing up. And as you can see, Squeezy's getting quicker and quicker out there. Now, that might be down to 2 things. 1, it could be that the track's drying out. Or 2, it could be that these intermediate tyres, with age, there's a certain point where they just keep getting better and better and better. The more laps you run on these tyres, the better they start to feel. And then they fall off a cliff. But where's the cliff? Who knows? Maze here, still trying to chase the Force India of Pursuit then. Meanwhile, Plaster and Little Piece then. Battle for 9th place developing here between Toro Rosso and Red Bull. As they both now head down towards turn 2 here. Plaster will look to optimise his exit through turns 2 and 3. And you can see there the 2 different lines being taken there, in fact, between the 2 drivers. Can Plaster get a little bit of a run here? He's in the slipstream. As we now head down towards turn 6, will Plaster look for a move then? No. No, he doesn't. He thought he'd just fill the mirrors for now then. Meanwhile, battle for 11th place behind them between Sean, Lighty and White. As they all head down towards turn 6 now. Watch out for this battle. Could be a good one. Obviously, we've got 3 battles to watch at the moment. And one of them is involving these 2 drivers here, Little Piece and Plaster, over 9th place right now as we now head through turn 10 and 11. You can see Little Piece there running too deep as we now head for that short run down towards turn 12. Plaster has the inside line. He has the position as well. Capitalised on Little Piece, taking that corner at a compromised angle and takes that position away. Ollie then has a 3-second time penalty, which will be added on to the end of his race now. That's not what he wanted, all things considered, as Spike continues to pile on that pressure. That's exactly what he wants here, Spike, to just put on that pressure. At some point, his engineer will tell him that Ollie has that 3-second time penalty. That won't mean much to him now, but towards the end of the race, that could be the defining feature. Graham then, not completing qualifying, retired at some point during it, finds himself in 16th place now. There is Alan Kay in 18th place. Obviously suffering that front wing damage early on. And is that Squeezy behind him? It is. That looks like it is Squeezy. And it is. I just want to clarify, is that Squeezy? Yes. Yes, it is. As we head down towards turn 13, you can see there Alan Kay getting straight out of the way of the leader. Blue flags galore for him. 5.6 is the gap between himself and Ollie here in these tricky conditions. Squeezy looking to see if he can wrap up win at number 8. as he comes across the line to start lap number 9. Let's jump on board with a battle for P12 at the moment. White behind Lighty as we head now down towards turn 8 here, as White tries up the inside. A little bit of wheel banging there as we head through turn 10. White now on the outside. Is Lighty going to give him the room? You bet he's not, as he shuts the door as we head through turn 11. Now on the entry into turn 12 here as Marquez comes into the pits for a stop here. And I wonder here, White going down the inside, contact between the two of them, and Lighty goes off the track into the gravel. He will not be impressed with White there. But did White understeer in the corner, I wonder? As you see now, the rain has eased off completely now. It is not raining anymore, and Marquez comes back out on a set. Oh, my apologies, it is still raining. But Marquez comes back out on a set of intermediate tyres. He was 5th place. He's now rejoined in 7th. So on fresh intermediate tyres, how will he go? Maze is right behind him. But as you can see, already Marquez is in the distance now. I wonder if damage was involved with Marquez there, because that seems a little bizarre why he would pit now. Unless he thinks that the rain's not going to fade away until after the halfway mark. In which case, obviously these tyres by then, if you start on them, will be a little bit worse for wear. Marquez may have the upper hand towards the end of this rain stint. That, of course, if it does stop raining and if it does dry up in time. Yellow flags in sector 3. That looks like Alan Kay, as a virtual safety car has been deployed, as Alan Kay is off in the gravel there. A virtual safety car has been deployed. So all the cars then on the same bit of Scalextric track, if you like, all have to follow the same delta, and Lambo capitalises. He's into the pit lane now as he looks to change onto a new set of intermediate tyres. Maybe for him they were becoming slicks. He leaves the pit lane then. And when will the virtual safety car end? Of course, we don't really know. There goes Pursuit into the pit lane as well. So Marquez then maybe will lose out slightly on Lambo as Lambo rejoins. And there it is. So Lambo takes full advantage of that virtual safety car. It's not quite a free pit stop, but it's definitely a better pit stop than Lambo could have hoped for, actually. Takes advantage of it and rejoins on a new set of intermediate tyres. Looks like it's just about to come to an end. Keep an eye on that left-hand corner. Sectors 1, 2 and 3. Then it's gone. And we're back under green flag racing now. Pursuit still in the pit lane then. Onto a new set of intermediate tyres. So Lambo really benefiting from that. Onto a new and fresh set of intermediate tyres. Marquez then, you can see, 7 seconds. That's basically how much time that was bought then in that virtual safety car period. So Lambo will be thanking his lucky stars then, as that was deployed. It looked like it was because Alan Kay was stranded in the gravel there, and it just deployed the virtual safety car. So a little bit odd, unless there was a bit of debris out on track that the marshals had to clear away. Meanwhile then, Squeezy is into the pits, race leader in for his stop. On go another set of inters, and away he goes. So it is still raining out there, but as you can see, it's much more of a drizzle now than it was at the start of the race. So that means Ollie takes the race lead. And that is Spike in second. So lots of strategies in play here. Some people, yellow flags in sector 3 now. Is that Plaster who's off? That might have been Plaster, who might have just taken a trip across the gravel there, as now Sean gets past. Is there damage to that Red Bull, I wonder? No, there isn't, as he elects to stay out then. As you can see, that looks like White here, losing the back end on the exit of turn 17. It's a run down towards turn 1 plus. You can see they had the better exit. And White here through turn 1 looks to have the better entry. Better exit off turn 1 this time. Very narrow as we head now down towards turn 2. It narrows, then it widens. Turning the car in, White, and he looks like he'll close the door for turn 3, and he will do just that. White then up into the top 10. Meanwhile then, that looks like Plaster then struggling on these tyres. Lighty, meanwhile, in 12th place, looking for a way past the Red Bull now, as he's in the slipstream, heading towards that turn 6, that hairpin. You can see trying to leave, braking late. He leaves that room for Plaster, and Plaster doesn't look like he battles too hard there. I was thinking about the word I was going to use there. Couldn't quite think of it. Then it came to me. Battles. There you go. But Lighty then in 11th place now, after he makes that move on Plaster. That's White into the top 10. And on lap 12, Ollie leads, and he has not pitted. Spike in second, also not pitted. Zenki in 3rd place. So I wonder now if some of these drivers will be thinking, well, there's no point in making a stop because the rain's going to stop in, what, 5-10 minutes? But for Lambo and Marquezes, and for Squeezy, I think reacted to Lambo and Marquezes. He had to, really. He's got to cover off those drivers there. But has he left an open opportunity for Ollie to try and just make a one-stop work? He'll trying to wait now for the dry period. Meanwhile, then White has got past Little Piece. And White is on a charge here as we head now in towards turn 2. He's got Sean just ahead of him as we now make our way through turn 3 and 4. And White here, you can hear how much he's revving that engine. He wants as much power as possible out of that. Meanwhile, Lighty has got away past Little Piece. And you can see here, White, is he going to try and move down the inside? He thought about it. Went for the dummy almost. And now we'll try and get a better exit off the exit of turn 6 now. And as you can see, couldn't quite get that power down. A lot of wheel spin heading out of turn 6 on the run towards turn 7. And as you can see then, Sean blocks him off then, closes the door and makes sure it is shut. Spike is into the pits then. Put on a new set of intermediate tyres, presumably. I wonder if some people are sort of thinking, well, the rain's not going to last for much longer, but you've got to weigh up the pros and cons. You can stay out on a set of intermediate tyres, but you don't know when the track's going to dry up again. So how long can you make the tyres last? As Sean runs a little bit deep there in towards turn 16. White had to take evasive action there, really. And, well, that was good driving from White. Saw the hazard ahead and reacted to it. As we now head in towards turn 1 now. And White has a much more and a much better grip. Much better line as we head through turn 1 now towards turn 2. Side by side they go. Williams versus the Haas. And that looks like White has got the position as we head through turn 4 now. And he has got that move done. Watch out for Sean though, who's got the slipstream. Through turn 5 now, we'll use that slipstream to its full advantage. White goes defensive then, goes to the right-hand side of the track. Here we go then, down towards turn 6. Who's going to be the last of the late breakers? White breaks later. Well, there comes a Force India out of nowhere. Lighty then launches it up the inside. Bit of contact there, but he's got the move done. And Sean then, just as surprised as I was to see the Force India come up the inside. But Lighty, the German in the Force India, is leaving nothing to chance here. He wants to gain back control of his race. 9th place so far, arguably out of sync with others. He needs to prove himself. He needs to keep going. You can see in the background there, Pursuit, who came in for new tyres just a couple of laps ago, looks up the inside at turn 12, backs out of it though, a bit of a half-hearted attempt there, but it put Little Piece off there. You can see he ran slightly wide on the exit of turn 12, putting him under that little bit of pressure there. Meanwhile then Sean, still trying to chase down Lighty, but the German in the Force India has a point to prove. Little Piece here, you can see the difference between these two tyres. Little Piece now going to be on 13-lap old intermediate tyres. Pursuit on 4-lap old intermediate tyres. You can see the difference between them just through the grip through turn 17 alone as Little Piece runs wide on the exit of turn 1 there. Pursuit just biding his time, but he knows he has to get this move done sooner rather than later. He doesn't want to waste all of his tyres just trying to get past the Toro Rosso of Little Piece then. As we head now through turn 4. And now on the run towards turn 5, you can see that Little Piece actually had a better run through 2 to 4. Now on the run to turn 5, looks like Pursuit's a little bit too far back. Will he try for a move anyway? Brakes late and almost runs into the back of the Toro Rosso. Again, a half-hearted attempt. And sometimes those half-hearted attempts are worse than the full attempts. But you can see now Nexus with the better grip, with the better traction through turn 7, gets the move done. Runs slightly wide though on the entry into turn 8. But he has got the move done, covers off the apex, and now he is up to 11th place then. Little Piece then has Plaster behind him. Meanwhile then, that's Graham off the track then. On the exit of turn 16, as Graham now comes into the pits. Graham, it's not been a great day for him. He has been struggling. Meanwhile then, Squeezy is into the pit lane then. As we now head down towards turn 6 then, diving it up the inside. Squeezy, who's been to the pit lane for fresh tyres, against Zenki, who hasn't. And this may be the difference in the strategy then, as we now head in towards turn 7 now. And down towards turn 8. Little Piece and Placer then. Something going on there, I wonder. Coming into turn 16. Yellow flags in sector 1 now. I was not quite sure what that was, but we continue on. So Squeezy gets the position done then. White, meanwhile, now sets his sight on Mays. And look at the speed difference now as we head towards turn 6. Down the inside it goes. Crazy Legs is out of the race then. As we head towards turn 6, a little bit of contact between them as White lets Mays go. As he gets a 5-second stop go. Virtual safety car for Crazy Legs there, who's crashed out. Well, that looks like he's just got onto the grass there and completely turned the car around. So another virtual safety car, second one of the race. That is going to allow Ollie to come into the pits then, as does Zenki to react. As they both now into the pit lane. The Red Bull now comes out in front of the McLaren then. Zenki in, puts on a set of intermediates, and away he goes. So Squeezy is into the lead. Now where does Ollie come out then? He will come out ahead of Lambo. Now, of course, the pit lane is not part of the racetrack. So that means you can then get up to speed. You can gain a position through the pit lane. And that's exactly what Ollie has done. And we're back under green flag racing straight away. As White then, so he's got that 5-second stop go with a collision with Mays. He's got to be careful now. As look at this now. Has he got the run? Down towards turn 1. Turn 1's not an overtake opportunity. He's going to try and go side by side. Up the inside it goes. Mays then lets him go. And White picks up a 3-second time penalty just to be a dagger to his heart even more. Lighty takes advantage of Mays' poor exit. And it was only poor because White was down the inside. And now Sean wants to take advantage of Mays here, who has not stopped at all in this race so far. It's only one of a handful of drivers that hasn't stopped right about now. As Sean looks to go round the outside at turn 5 on the run down towards turn 6. Takes that position away. Covers off the apex against Mays. And he's able to get up into that position of 9th place. Lighty, meanwhile, will set his sights now on White. So darts through turn 7 and now down towards turn 8. Almost halfway through this Grand Prix then. In fact, we're just about to, well, almost halfway through. I'll stick to my word on that one. It is Squeezy who leads then here at the German Grand Prix. That is Ollie in 2nd, Lambo in 3rd with Zenki 4. Spike then is in 5th with Marquesis in 6th. White in 7th with Lighty in 8th. Sean there is in 9th with Mays rounding up the top 10. It's Pursuit in 11th. Little Piece in 12th, Plaster 13th. George Roberts 14th. Alan Kay is into the pits in 15th place. Graham is in 16th place. Poe is out of this race, as is Crazy Legs, who crashed out just a couple of laps ago on the exit of turn 6. So Squeeze then looking to keep on this domination here that he's had so far in this season. That is Alan Cages coming out of the pit lane. He is a lap down. So he's coming for another set of boots here. There's yellow flags in sectors 1 and 2. That looks like it's just going to be Alan Kay getting out of the way, and it is. He's just getting out of the way of Mays there. There's Zenki here. Oh, Ollie and Zenki took advantage of that second virtual safety car by pitting in. And Zenki, that means he's rejoined ahead of Spike. And Ollie, that means he's now 8.7 down on Squeezy. But let's have a look on board then. I'm not seeing any more rain falling at the moment. There is no more rain falling on the circuit. And that now I am sure of. So, who makes the call? Who's the first to blink? Who will go onto a set of slick tyres first? Absolutely no chance of slicks right about now. There is still water on the track, that's for sure. But looking at it, there's not much standing water anywhere out on track. But the only problem is, as soon as you go onto a set of slick tyres, you go onto a basically green track, as you would do at the start of FP1, for example. So there's going to be very little grip out there. It's a low grip scenario. And that can mean a high abrasive situation here. Yellow flags in sector 3 then. Is that Alan Kay's into the wall there? That is... Where is that, I wonder? That's through the left-right, is it? Struggling to figure out where he is out on circuit. That's just before the left-right. It is. So I did get it right. So Alan Kay rejoins the circuit then. And, well, it's been a tough day at the office for Alan Kay. And now continuing on though in 16th place, has the attitude and the spirit to just keep going, in this race. You never know what might happen. Top 6 then seems to be running away with it very slightly. I only say that because White is 25 seconds behind his teammate there. And Ollie in 2nd place, 9.2 down on Squeezy. And George Roberts then getting lapped by race leader Squeezy. As you now head in towards turns 3 and then through turn 4 now. And there's Squeezy there You can see the sun poking through, and the track does seem to be drying somewhat. Still not time for those slick tyres at the moment. How will we know for sure? Well, the race control will enable DRS. That's how we'll know the track is near enough ready for those slick tyres. Ollie there, still 9.2 down. Lambo there is in third place, closely followed by Zenki, 1.7 behind. As Sean comes into the pits, is this a chance then for Sean to go on to a set of dry tyres? I think it's too early for dry tyres, but maybe Sean's got some other ideas. In he comes then, dry tyres at the ready. It's soft tyres going on to the Haas then. Is it too early, or is it just the right time? We're about to find out then. Here comes Sean then, out of the pit lane. On those soft tyres, he's got to be careful. That pit lane will not be dry at all. As we head now, we'll have a ride on board with Sean then. He's got to be careful now. What's his pace going to be like? The first couple of corners, very understeery, then followed by a massive amount of oversteer, is it? Through turn 4 now. And yet, he's not going to find much grip there. He's got to get onto that drying line, that darkened line out on track. That's where he's got to be. We'll have to keep an eye on his times, but he's already 3.2 down on Little Piece. And maybe he's just trying to make this work for now as we head now towards turn 6. And you can see the spray still coming off the tyres at the moment. I wonder if it was just slightly too early from the Haas driver then. Meanwhile then, Marquez is closing in on Spike now. You can see the spray still coming off the tyres. That indicates that there's still moisture on the track. And as Marquez closes in on Spike, he'll want to make that move done here. And the Irishman making his way now down towards turn 6, closing in on Spike now. Mercedes may be dominating the constructors right now, but other teams around them are looking to try and take advantage whenever they can. And Spike running in 5th place at the moment seems to be an opportunity here for Williams to grab a couple of extra points. We fly through turn 12. Oh, Marquez is loose the back end. Sorry, through turn 11 that was. As Lighty now comes in. He's onto a set of slick tyres now. Marquez is running wide on the exit of turn 12. Now through turn 13. Yellow flag in sector 3 and Lambo's out. Lambo's out of the race. Has he lost it? There's another car off there as well. Now who is that off the circuit there? Oh, Lighty's lost it. Lost it completely. I wonder if it's just, yeah, it is too early for those slick tyres right about now. There was another car off there. And it was George Roberts, that's who it was. I wonder if Lambo and George Roberts came together then. Well, Lambo is out of this race. And his lack of point scoring run continues. Now yellow flags in sector 1. Lighty is still struggling on those tyres. He wanted to just chuck everything at it. Take a risk, why not? The only problem is when you take that risk, sometimes you have to accept the consequences. And these consequences are that this truck is not drying as quickly as some of these drivers would like. So Lambo out of this race as Mays comes into the pits now. Is he going to be the next one to try on a set of soft tyres? He is. So one of these days, one of these drivers is going to get this call right. Is Mays going to be the latest one? Is he going to be the one to make the right call? Makes his way now out onto circuit. Yellow flags in sector 3. And is that involving Lighty? It is again. Unfortunate here for Lighty. That looked like he's made the call about 10 laps too early. The amount of grip that's out there on those slick tyres. Let's have a look at Mays then as he makes his way out onto track. At the moment, well, obviously on a straight, it looks like Mays is having an okay time, but let's have a look at the gaps, the cars ahead and the cars behind. As Mays now makes their way down towards turn 6. Yep, there's the understeer. As Marquez is out now. Marquez is out of the race. My word, they're dropping like flies right about now. Where has Marquez gone off then? Somewhere in sector 1, quite clearly. But Lambo out, Marquez is out, George Roberts out. Lighty comes back into the pits, and what's he going to put on then? Yellow flags coming up towards turn 3. And there is Marquez then off. Front tyre completely gone. Oh, and Lighty goes off again. Right in the way of White there. Well, you can't blame the man for trying. He wanted to try something different to just get himself back into the point scoring positions, back up into a decent position. He wanted to take that risk. He knew he had to take some sort of risk. If it paid off, he would have got into the points. If it didn't pay off, well, exactly this would happen. But he'll say at the end of the day he had nothing to lose, as that looks like it is Pursuit behind, and this could be Pursuit lapping his teammate here. Poe has already been into the pits, presumably to switch onto a set of a new one. Meanwhile then Mays trying around the outside, and this is 3 cars here that have all pitted, and there goes Ollie just sailing straight through. And he just takes that position. Zenki through as well. They're lap cars, or lapping cars. And Mays looks to try and take advantage here as Little Piece comes back across to now focus on defending against Mays. As we head now down towards turn 6, you can see Mays here having to brake earlier. Little Piece goes straight on. He goes straight on at the hairpin. That's how much little grip there is out there. And Little Piece looking to try and make a battle now as we head through turn 7. He backs out of it though, as he did run wide at turn 6 there on the exit. And to avoid a Sebastian Vettel-esque penalty of his Red Bull days, decided to back off of that one. And that Spike power sliding his way through there now. He's now up to 4th place as he makes his way now past Mays, lapped car. He's 5 seconds behind Zenki, and Squeezy's in then. So Squeezy into the pits from the race leader. Might be going to a set of softs already. That's exactly what's going to happen. So the Mercedes crew and Squeezy think it's time. And away he goes, a little bit caught up in the pit lane. So that's Zenki in as well. Ollie stays out, interestingly. No more spray coming off those tyres. That's not the telltale sign. Let's have a look at Squeezy as he exits the pit lane. Of course, there has to be that crossover point. Now Squeezy looks like he's got a pretty decent amount of grip there as Zenki's now left the session from 4th place. He's left the session. A chance here then for White to catch up. Meanwhile, Spike has to stay out. They weren't willing to double stack. Here comes Spike then. Down the inside at turn 6. He'll have much more faith in his tyres. Coming into turn 6 now. And he takes 2nd place away from Squeezy there. As Squeezy, there you go. He does struggle for traction as DRS is now enabled. So what that means is we've come to the crossover point where, in theory, the soft or the slick tyres are now the quicker tyre. But that's only in theory. So when you see that pop up, now's the time. Basically, is what it's saying. So Ollie then, we're leading this race. What's going to happen is that might be a lap where Squeezy had the advantage. But now Squeezy is behind his teammate. He's dropping back a little bit actually. But if he left it a lap longer, Spike, that could be Squeezy taking advantage. Here comes Ollie then into the pits as he now heads towards his box. On go a set of soft tyres. That's Squeezy who's going to go through to take the lead of the race. In comes Spike now, the other Mercedes. On go another set of soft tyres. So it looks a little bit miserable out in the German crowd right now with those dark skies all around. So that is Zenki who's come into the pits, but that is his ghost car. So his ghost car has cost him here because the ghost car put him on intermediate tyres again. Now his ghost car's got to come back in and put on a set of soft tyres. That's a disaster. Little Piece struggling there as that is just on the exit of turn 4, and that looked like he was just getting out of the way of some of the drivers. White then into the pits then. On the last change off those soft tyres. Pursuit will be the last as White now 5 seconds stop go for that collision with Mays earlier on in this race. Now the team can get to work on the car. On goes soft tyres and away he goes. Pursuit now into the pits. Last person to just get rid of those intermediate tyres. They'll probably be slicks now if we look at them. On go a set of soft tyres and away he goes. So all the drivers now onto soft tyres to the end of this race. We have 10 laps to go here. And Squeezy leads the way then as we now make our way through the final 2 corners with the Mercedes. And towards the start-finish line he goes then. Little bit of loss to the back end then as that's the fastest lap of the race, 1:20.8. It's definitely time for dries now, if you couldn't tell already. Yellow flags in Sector 3. That is Alan Kay though, out on track. 28 seconds behind this man, Graham. Lighty in 11th place. Finally the tyres have come to him, but now he's 26.3 behind this man, Plaster. Pursuit then 10 seconds behind the ghost car of, oh sorry, no, White, 22 seconds behind the ghost car of Zenki right about now. He'll be looking to just keep pushing. He might see there that Zenki's now a ghost car. He'll now push to try and catch him. And White here looking for 4th place. He might be handed to it on a plate. You never know. He's got quite a bit of catching up to do though. 19.2 the gap between them. Pursuit then in 6th place. And again, looking to just build on that great form he's had recently. Lighty then fastest lap of the race. 1:19.6. That is currently the A logo fastest lap of the race. Going to the German in the Force India. As Pursuit then makes his way towards the start-finish line. Through the first turn. And now look at this gap between himself and White. 12.6 at the moment. Squeezy takes back the A logo fastest lap of the race. 1:17.6 from Squeezy. 2 seconds quicker than Lighty on that lap alone. So Squeezy then on lap 27 leads this race. That is Ollie there in 2nd place. Spike there is running in 3rd. With Zenki, a ghost car, running in 4th. He's been quickly closed down by White in 5th. And it's Pursuit there in 6th place. Maze is running in 7th with Sean looking to try and make a battle of this towards the end of the race. He's in 8th place. The little piece there in 9th with Plaster in 10th. Lighty in 11th. Graham is in 12th. Alan K 13th. With Poe not in this race at the moment. Marquez's, Lambo, George Roberts and Crazy Legs all retiring from this race. Here's Sean then looking to put some pressure here on Maze. He gets a much better exit out of turn 6. Runs side by side through turn 7 now. He'll have the inside line and Maze won't put up too much of a battle then. Sean is now up to 7th place as White now takes the A logo fastest lap of the race. They're going to be trading that all throughout now as there's Spike right behind them to put a lap on those cars now. So Maze jumps right out of the way. Sean not so eager to do that. We head now down towards turn 13 and Sean is being closed up by the Mercedes as again Squeezy 1:16.0 as the track just gets quicker and quicker and quicker. There goes Sean way off the track then, and actually that tries to get him a little bit of better exit. Zenki and his ghost car is being closed in by White then, and if Zenki didn't have bad luck, he had no luck at all. Season 13, unlucky for some, lucky for one is the tagline I said at the start of this season. And Zenki's 20 plus lead has been whittled down to 4.1. And now White here has a good chance of 4th place. Retirements, Crazy Legs we lost around about 12 laps ago. When he lost the back end on the exit of turn 6. George Roberts and Lambo we lost at the same corner going through turn 16. And there goes White then, up to 4th place he goes then. So 4th in the Williams right about now. So the next car might have a chance at that is Pursuit, who lets the very fast car of Squeezy go through then. We have 6 laps to go then in this one. Pursuit now 18.4 as Ollie now goes fastest. 1:14.7 from the man from Jersey. As now Spike goes even quicker. 1:14.7. Even quicker. Coming into the closing stages of this race then. As Pursuit is literally in pursuit of Zenki. Oh my goodness, I've never used that pun before. Well, let's have a look at some battles here. Well, Sean is trying to break away now from Maze in 7th place. A little piece though in 9th, looking to try and close in on Maze ahead of him. 2.5 is that gap right about now. And have a look at that gap between 3rd and 4th place. 40 seconds. You heard me right there. 40. That just shows you a dramatic race it's been then. Pursuit now 12.8 down on Zenki ahead. And as we head soon enough on to lap 30. 5 laps to go then, as Pursuit then will have to presumably dive out of the way of Mercedes at some point. In fact, no, he won't, because the Mercedes is ahead of him. So Pursuit here can just keep focusing now on trying to catch the ghost car of Zenki. He's got 5 laps to go and the gap is 10.3. Well, it doesn't take a genius to work out that you would need at least 2 seconds a lap to catch that ghost car. We'll have to check on those gaps as we head towards the closing stages of this race. Little Piece, by the way, is catching Maze towards the end of this one. Gap is now 1.6. Little Piece here will be wanting to try and get up to 8th place. As he heads in towards turn 5 here, on the run down towards turn 6. In towards turn 6 he goes then, and White 1:13.6 as Alan Kay pits in. That looks like he's going to go for the fastest lap of this race then. He wants to have the definitive say all. As 1.6 is still the gap between the two of them. Pursuit meanwhile, well, I said it had to be 2 seconds a lap at least. He's taken out 5 seconds on that lap on Zenki, the ghost car. Of course, Zenki could finish in 6th place, but he will not score any points for them because he did not finish the race. Those are the rules then. You have to be in control of your car or across the start finish line for it to count as your finish and not as a DNF. But of course, no one gets promoted or demoted. So if Sean finishes 7th behind Zenki, then he finishes 7th. But Zenki will not score any points. Those are the rules. Little Piece then. Still trying to chase down Maze then as we head down towards turn 6. You can see there Little Piece locking up a little bit in the entry. 4 laps to go. Losing that back end on the exit of turn 6 there. As he looks to run through. There is Pursuit getting past Zenki then. So he's now up to 5th place, and Sean now, it comes to him to see what he can do. Can he grab 6th place? 20 seconds with 3 laps to go. It's a bit of a tall order there, even as a ghost car. Little Piece doing everything he can to try and close in on the Renault of Maze ahead of him. And it has been a dramatic race to say the least, and as we head towards the closing stages of it, he is making his way now towards that Renault car of Maze, and of course we will have to take in account of penalties. Let's see how they add up and down the field. And as Little Piece makes his way now down towards turn 2. He has DRS this time around though, so he'll be able to use that to gain that little bit more speed on Maze and maybe get into the slipstream. Shifts up early as well to try and make the most of it. And you can see how much more he's closed in on Maze then down that straight alone. And White then 1:13.5. As waiting to see that lap from Alan Kay. What's that going to be? And building up, it's going to be a quick one as Ollie gets another 3-second time penalty. Lighty into the pits now. And he goes on to set of ultra soft, so he's given up on the prospect of getting a point here today. And Little Piece runs very wide on the exit there. As Little Piece still trying to chase down Maze up ahead as we head now down towards turn 13. Lap 33 of this one. Squeezy leads as Ollie in 2nd. And Spike into the pits then. Looks like he wants that fastest lap as well. And ultra soft tyres are ready. Looks like he's going to have a little bit of fun. 40 seconds the gap behind him, so he's got enough time for a stop. And now he wants fastest lap. Little Piece then still trying to chase down Maze then as we head up towards turn 2 now. Putting some pressure on now. And Little Piece still putting on that pressure. Oh, loses that back end through turn 3 there. Really compromises entry into 4. And now you can see Maze is already halfway down the road. It's all about that composure for Little Piece. He has to keep in control of that car. He is gaining on Maze as we head through turn 6. Look at that. Carried a little bit more speed through there. And a tighter line as well. Wants to get that better exit as White picks up a 3-second time penalty. He may be 20 seconds ahead of Pursuit right now, but with those penalties they do add up. Squeezy then starts the fastest lap. Starts the fastest lap? Starts the last lap of this race in the lead. And that is Ollie in 2nd in the Red Bull. Looks like for him it's going to be back-to-back podiums. Spike then on those ultra soft tyres is going to have 1 lap to make those ultra softs work. He wants that fastest lap. I've known from experience that he's taken a fastest lap away from me. He loves to do it. He wants the fastest lap as well. And as Squeezy now heads his way down towards turn 6 for the final time. He now makes his way through turn 7 and on his way towards turn 8. Meanwhile, Maze and Little Piece battling for position. As that Little Piece, this time, he's got that car nailed down. Now comes into the slipstream. Olive Maze then, can he make this move stick as we head towards turn 6? The hairpin, heaviest braking point on the track. Will Little Piece go for it? No, he is too far back. And Maze there can't quite, Little Piece there can't quite make anything of it. But Squeezy now coming around the final corner takes yet another win in season 13. It's Squeezy for Mercedes who wins the German Grand Prix. Great win today for Squeezy, and again showed his pace. Picked up where he left off. And Ollie there takes a podium place, second place at the moment, as Sean does get past Zenki. His ghost car on the final lap. Now it's time to see whether Spike will get the fastest lap of the race here. He's got a little bit of traffic ahead of him, but he won't mind too much. It looks like for now he's going to round off the final podium places as we make our way around the final corner. Can Spike get fastest lap of the race? Let's have a look. Bottom left-hand corner. He can. 1:11.9. A logo fastest lap of the race there for Spike. And it looks like White there is the last of the cars on the lead lap. Wow, Squeezy lapping all the way up to 5th place. But White now makes his way through the fast left-right and around the final corner he goes then, and he will take 4th place in this one. And he comes across the start-finish line to take 4th place then. But your race winner for the day, another race win for Squeezy. Well, there are your top 3 then, out onto the podium. Squeezy takes yet another win in this season, and Ollie takes a podium, with Spike then rounding up the top 3 with the A logo fastest lap of the race. Well then, we await then for the unofficial results of the German Grand Prix. It's just started to rain again. Squeezy takes the win with Ollie in 2nd. Spike then in 3rd with White in 4th. Pursuit in 5th with Short in 6th. Maze in 7th. Zenki 8th with Little Piece in 9th. And Plaster rounds out the top 10. Lighty just pitted too early for those soft tyres. He finds himself 11th with Graham in 12th. Alan K 13th, rounding off a miserable day for him, although penalty free. Poe finished as a ghost car, meaning he did not finish. He joins Marquezes, Lambo, George Roberts and Crazy Legs in not finishing the German Grand Prix. Just as a side note, this is White and Pursuit's best result in TTL F1 to date. So congratulations to them. 4th and 5th they take away with them. They'll be very happy with that. And Sean there, consistently in the points. 6th place for him today. And it looked like at one point there, losing that front wing. What a day it could have been for Sean had he not had to pit that early for a new front wing. Well, that was a great German Grand Prix, and really looking forward to next week, of course. And if you want the full... if you want the full action, make sure and be sure to join me next week as well. There won't be a commentator's corner tonight because I have to run off and do some errands. Of course I do. So I won't be able to do commentator's corner tonight. However, you can tune in to round 13 of the season. Round 13 in season 13. It should be an interesting one. And we go to the Hungarian Grand Prix. Monaco without the barriers, they say it is, even though it has barriers. Whatever. You can join me then for the Hungarian Grand Prix next week. Of course, we have TTFL. That's coming up tomorrow night, so make sure you tune in for then. They are going to be in their next race of the season. You can join Malk in the box for that. And as well, on Sunday, we have TTL F2, following the same calendar as TTL F1, just all on one night. 2 25% races there. You can join Cats and Jack for that one. Meanwhile then, obviously no commentators corner tonight, so I bid you farewell. I've been Kieran McGinley. You've been watching. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time.